Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In this story, after discovering his wife's infidelity with his stepbrother, he went through a tumultuous emotional experience. He had previously suspected her unfaithfulness but never confirmed it until that day. Using a hidden camera, he uncovered several instances of her infidelity, leading to a public embarrassment when he posted a private video of the affair on Facebook, tagging both his wife and stepbrother. His family was shocked by the revelation, and his father agreed to kick out the stepbrother. Now let's get into the story. My wife admitted to me before our wedding that she got very drunk and slept with another man. She said she knew him all before, off and on for years. She never saw him romantically, but that night she was so drunk she didn't even remember how she got to his house. She actually wasn't sure if she was drugged, considering how honest and serious she was being. I went through marrying her. I was more nervous than before. But the fact that she confessed and wanted to be honest had to mean something, right? She swore to me that she would never speak to said man ever again. That was a necessary promise. She also promised she would never be unfaithful to me in marriage. We had a good marriage for 5 years. We argued sometimes, but it was about normal stuff and we both knew how to control our anger and walk away or drop it if necessary. We always came back together afterwards and appreciated the other's maturity about the disagreement. That all meant nothing. When I came home early from work one day, I thought my wife was still at work, but her car was in the driveway and another was parked on the side street. I didn't think too much of it and went inside. I heard a voice upstairs and thought maybe it was the TV. I got to the upstairs hallway and heard the bed squeaking, followed by moaning and a man's voice. Then my wife's voice and more moaning. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It felt like my soul was floating above my body because I couldn't allow myself to register what was happening. It was my worst nightmare. I pushed the door open a little and saw my wife was doing my stepbrother. All the air left my lungs. I know I looked mortified, but my face couldn't have been as disturbed as theirs. When they saw me watching them, they leaped up, but it was happening in slow motion to me. I remembered at this moment that I put a hidden camera in our bedroom 2 years ago. It was plugged in and set to record during the times I wasn't home. The camera would upload these videos onto my desktop through Wi-Fi. I hadn't even looked in the videos folder since I installed it because I never felt the need to. Thank God I'd forgotten about it, and thank God my wife never discovered it since she cheated before our wedding. I knew I needed to watch her, but my own stepbrother? I couldn't believe it. I was looking right at him jumping all and I couldn't believe it. We were never close, but I didn't think my wife and him ever had a chance to grow a relationship. I was wrong. Dead wrong. How many times had this happened? Was our bedroom the only place they'd had clothes? My stepbrother still lived with my father and stepmom, so I'm sure they didn't go there. So it was at this point that I started screaming. I screamed for him to get out, which he did very quickly. My wife wanted to leave too, but she also wanted to apologize to me. No matter what she said, I hated it. I screamed at her face, red as a tomato, "I'm sure to get out of my house." She hesitated, even though she was sobbing and gasping for air. When she didn't leave and tried saying pointless words to me, I grabbed a porcelain horse, a statue my wife cherished, and threw it across the room. It smashed into a million pieces, and she ran out of the house holding her clothes. Thank God I didn't have any children with this woman. I think a part of me knew she was going to be unfaithful. I got on my desktop computer and found the video from today, plus some. She'd done this 7 times in our house, in our bed. One of those times, I had intimate with her. The same night I posted their private video on Facebook tagging my wife and stepbrother. All of our family freaked out. They couldn't believe how uncensored the video was and that my wife and stepbrother would stoop so low. My dad called me. He was crying. At this point, I felt kind of bad, but he only wanted to console me. He said he never wanted me to experience heartbreak, and the fact that it happened with my brother killed him. I told him it wasn't his fault and if he wanted to help me, he needed to kick out my stepbrother. He agreed immediately. My wife tried arranging to meet with me so we could talk about things, but there was nothing to discuss. I told her she broke my heart and trust in everyone. After the affair, fog wore off. My wife realized the magnitude of her actions. She didn't try to get anything from me in the divorce, and she accepted the fault and karma that followed. I kicked her out and now she lives with a roommate. I'm happy to report that I still have a great job and a place to live. I got a dog and a bearded dragon. When all of this first happened, I was pretty messed up emotionally and slept around with some women. I think I'm ready to get back into the dating scene. But I wanted to share my story first. I survived the worst moment in my life and recovered from the pain. Blaming myself and wondering why, I realized that I am all I need. But the company of my pets and other women helped. Anyone can get through anything because as humans, we wouldn't have to endure anything we couldn't handle. Today's second story. In the story, OP discovered their girlfriend was cheating on them during her work trip. They tried to work through it but eventually found out that their girlfriend was having an affair with a married man. He decided to take revenge by exposing the affair to the man's wife, leading to their breakup. They also kicked their girlfriend out of their house and planned to pursue legal action against the man for child support and emotional damages. Now let's get into the story. So me and my girlfriend have been dating for 2 years. We met at a common friends party and instantly clicked. Our lives have been good since because we are financially stable and living in the apartment that my father gifted me when I graduated. I love my girlfriend and believe she is the most important person in my life as I don't have many friends who I can open up to. She is the one who always supports me emotionally. But due to work reasons, she had to move to a different state for 2 months. We talked every day on the phone during that time and I even planned a surprise for her. But when she came back and I discussed it with her, she didn't react the way I imagined she would. She declined and said she just wants to be alone. Normally she never declines a surprise or anything like that. But I understood that she might be tired. So I asked if we can shift the date to another day. She didn't reply and I felt this behavior was quite odd. Since that day, I've started feeling that she is trying to distance herself from me. But then after a month passed, she said let's plan a vacation. I agreed and then we planned things and enjoyed ourselves and all. But during the vacation, she went to her friend's house alone. I didn't know her friend lived there and she even refused to let me come with her. Now, 2 months after our vacation, I found out why she has been behaving like this. One day I was in the bedroom and my girlfriend was in the shower. Her phone beeped and I saw a text that shattered my heart. The text said, "Hey, beautiful. Did he go to sleep?" I was shocked and then started reading the chats. I found out that she had been cheating on me with a guy she met on her work trip and there was also a photo of them at the place we went on vacation. They were talking about doing the deed and how they loved it and managed to pull it off without me knowing. Update: so it's been 5 to 6 days since I posted about how my girlfriend of 2 years cheated on me and also manipulated me to go on vacation to a place where she could hook up with her cheating partner. So I left home the night I posted the story to get away with the emotions and told her that I was going to my friend's house. I wasn't able to sleep all night and was reading the comments and people were saying that I should leave her as she was using me. There were a few comments saying I should get some kind of revenge. I didn't want to get any revenge as I still loved her even though she did all this to me. So I went to my parents' home and talked to my mother and she was devastated. She said she thought our relationship was perfect and was looking forward to our marriage. That night I thought about the whole thing and decided that I would go on and leave her for good and go on a nice vacation or do something like that. So I went back to my house, but you won't believe what I saw. It didn't even take her a night to call her partner to my house and cheat on me. I didn't want to take any sort of revenge at first, but the scenery of her lying on the bed with another man and the opportunity gave me a perfect idea. I took photos of them while they were deep in sleep. Then I went back as I wanted to get some time before confronting her. Later that day I called that guy anonymously to a cafe and then also took my girlfriend to that same cafe so they could meet up. You should have seen the look on her face. Also, I did take screenshots of their chats. Now comes step 2 of my plan. I found out everything I could about the guy's background. I know it may be unethical, but one of my online friends is good with tech stuff. So he managed to collect all his background data and found out that he has a wife and 2 kids. The story gets even crazier. I called his wife and explained to her everything, then told her about my plan and she was sad but agreed to it. Step 3: I now had all this guy's information and decided to send it to him anonymously. I told him that I would destroy his life if he didn't leave my girlfriend alone. Moments later, he broke up with my girlfriend and I could hear her crying in the bathroom. I then sent the proof of what happened to her friends and family. After she woke up the next day, her bag was ready and I told her to get out of my house or I'm calling the police. She was shocked and begged me to let her stay. I told her in a very polite tone to get out of my house and then sent the text to the guy's wife to show him the divorce papers. and as my girlfriend was leaving, her phone got flooded with messages. The court hearing will take time, but we will make the guy pay child support and fines for the emotional damage. I don't feel good breaking up a couple, but I don't think she deserved that. She is a great person, and even if the guy broke up with my girlfriend, he probably would have cheated on his wife with another woman. Also, thank you guys for making me feel good and convincing me to get out of this toxic relationship. It'll take time for me to get over her, but surely I will. I'll also update you after a week or two about the divorce and how the lady and I are doing. Today's third story. In this story, a marriage of 10 years crumbled when the husband, desiring children, discovered his wife's affair with a man from her dance class. After a confrontational night, he exposed her infidelity, leading to her eviction from their home and a divorce. The husband embraced bachelorhood, finding happiness in newfound freedom and hobbies. Despite his ex-wife's attempts at reconciliation, he chose to move forward without her, finding strength in self-sufficiency. The story underscores the idea that surviving adversity can lead to personal growth and independence, even in the face of a painful breakup. Now let's get into the story. My wife, 35, was starting to distance herself from me, 39, after 10 years of marriage. She didn't want kids. And even though I didn't for a while, my mind was changing. I made the mistake of bringing this up after she started distancing herself as something that might bring us closer together. It did not. All it did was make it so she didn't sleep with me. Perfect. So she'd been going an exercise dance class that started around 2017. She'd get up, go to work, stop home for a light dinner and outfit change, then go dancing. I went with her a handful of times when she first started, but I wasn't into dancing like that. I felt like a sweaty moron. Not like the others in the class. Glittery dancers filled with the power of magic. When I did go a few times, there were only women. So my wife found an AP in dance class. Never crossed my mind. What I didn't know was that they continued dancing in the parks, and sometimes a crowd would swarm around them to watch, and this crowd was AP, but I wouldn't find that out until my wife came home. One day, she locked herself in the bathroom with her phone and I knocked, scaring the crap out of her. She yelled at me and started hurrying to finish up. But I'm sure she was only finishing her texting conversation with AP for a while. We were supposed to have a popcorn movie date, and she couldn't be texting him constantly for that. Then she dropped her phone in the toilet. She obviously blamed me, even though it was a minute after I scared her. She put her phone in rice and waited anxiously by its side. I told her it wasn't a person on life support and she could let it go. This made her mad, but she did let it go for a while. She fell asleep watching the movie, which I expected because it was late and we both had work. The next day, I noticed her phone came on by itself in the bowl of rice. Maybe it was fate telling me to check it. I guessed her passcode after a few tries, and it was a gold mine of information. While she locked herself in the bathroom before our movie night, she took pictures of herself and sent them to AP. His number was programmed as a disguise. He sent her pictures of himself too, and added that he couldn't wait to feel her toned body again. In my wife's traveling app, I found her recent input was to an address in a development 20 minutes from her house. She went there after the park, where I didn't know she dancing. The app told me she'd visited this address 6 times in the past month. My blood was boiling. I could barely hold on to her phone. But I knew that before she woke up, I had to get the evidence to my phone. Once I did, I dumped water on her to wake her up. She gasped and freaked out, but got really quiet after she saw I was holding her unlocked phone with AP's messages. I threw her phone on the ground, and it splintered into 1,000 pieces. She screamed and cried, overwhelmed with the way she was caught, woken up, and humiliated. I told her what she was feeling was just the beginning. I went upstairs and started throwing her things off the balcony to be thrown outside. She was crying so hard she couldn't breathe, and she barely verbalized a request for forgiveness. But I wasn't slowing down. She didn't have a phone anymore, so all she could do was watch and cry. She asked if she could use my phone to call someone, and I just laughed. I told her to use the neighbor's phone, so she did. I would find out later from the neighbors that she called AP first, meaning she memorized his number. But when he heard that she needed a place to live and had a bunch of stuff that needed to be moved, he hung up. I still find that funny to this day. Just like that, he was done with her forever. Their relationship meant nothing because he didn't have to give her anything besides having intimate. The next person my broken-hearted, soon-to-be ex called was her sister. Her parents lived out of state, so she didn't expect them to be able to help. After hearing what she'd done, Her sister only agreed to help her get to their parents' house because she refused to live with her. Knowing how despicable she turned out to be, I found out that bit from her sister directly. Along with apologies on behalf of her sister, they loaded up her pickup truck so that there was a very large, slightly precarious load in the back. I wondered if it was legal to drive that way, but it was the last I ever heard about my wife. Our divorce was made final remotely, without objections. I couldn't believe that after 10 years of marriage, I was a bachelor. It felt weird at first, but I think human nature caught on, and I was able to find happiness. I was able to go fishing or golfing whenever I wanted and realized how much money I saved without a wife. She did eventually reach out, saying that her entire family hated her and she had no one. But I did not respond. I didn't want to remember the pain she caused me, and there was no benefit to us talking at all. What doesn't kill you does make you stronger. And you don't have to feel lonely as long as you enjoy your own company.